for any history nerds out there, I took the liberties just looking into like the history of vaping, because I thought they can't have just come out of nowhere. The modern e-cigarette was invented in China in 2003 by a pharmacist called Hon Lik after his father died from smoking-related illnesses. So it's quite a well-meaning endeavour. The explosion happened when disposable vapes, sweet flavours and colourful branding arrived at around 21, 23.
They're making it like really appealing to kids. Like if you go into the supermarket and look at the vapes and the colours, they're obviously appealing to a younger audience. They know that's a massive portion of their market. It really is.
It was created to be a quit smoking tool, and then it all of a sudden became this cultural trend.
Welcome to the Fit Dads podcast. My name's Ryan Dutton. I'm joined as always by the man himself with great hair again today. I feel like I mention that every time, mate. It's getting better and better as you age, I think.
I just want to lob it off, to be honest.
Do you really?
It's maintenance, mate. I'm jealous of yours.
Yeah, it's easy to maintain,
That's
not
what
gonna
I mean,
lie. Yeah. But we're here today to talk about a very interesting topic, vapes. They are more prevalent than ever, I think, especially in the UK. I've got friends who do it. I want to give you some facts, figures about who does it. Some of the more interesting research. A lot of things happened in 2025 with some studies around vapes and their short-term, long-term health. I want to talk you through what exactly they are, the mechanism of how it actually works inside a vape, what the actual, I guess what you would call the ingredients of the liquids and everything are, and some other bits that we've found which are very interesting. But before we get into today, how's your week been, mate? What's been going on?
I want to say it's been good, but I'm recovering from laryngitis.
I can tell, actually. Yeah, you've got a bit of a husky voice, haven't you?
Yeah. I can't decide if Amy likes it or not. I feel like she might do.
Bit of a Barry White situation.
Barry White.
The Barry White situation going on. I mean, you've got a very dulcet tone anyway.
I don't know about that.
It's got even sexier today.
I mean, clip that up. Clip that up. I mean, I were in a gym. I was doing an assessment down in Grantham.
Right.
And I don't really do aircon. Right. And do you know when right, I feel dry now. And the aircon, I think it's just got to me. And yeah, so I've had it for about a week or so, but yeah.
Is that what it was, the aircon in the
I
gym?
think so. I think so.
I get it whenever I go away on holiday.
Yeah.
And you're in those rooms, and overnight you leave the aircon on because it's nice and we even put it, how many times you go in a hotel room, you leave the aircon on, it's too cold. You wake up in the morning, husky throat. You're like, why did I do that?
Yeah, I regret it. And then, I feel like I've done loads of assessments. So I've been on my travels off term last week. So
Who was?
Took Amy and Ted to Southend, where we're doing some work.
Very nice.
So we went to Cambridge first. You've been to Cambridge before?
Never.
Okay.
No.
It's a lovely place. Really, really nice. Loads of very quintessential gentlemen and ladies there. People who speak really nice.
Well dressed, I imagine.
Well, students, aren't they?
I mean, they're upper class students, so we got a bit more dosh than most of us.
And in the town centre, they do this thing called dinky doors.
Dinky doors.
Dinky doors. So there were these little, almost like fairy houses dotted around the city. And we sort of tasked Ted to right, we need you to find these dinky doors, as many as you can. So it was a nice little treasure hunt for him to do, but it's just a beautiful place and weather were amazing. And then,
Good week for it.
really nice week for it. And then obviously, like I said, we were in Southend, so it was just nice to have a bit of time by the seaside. And
Lovely. Yeah, nice little family house. It's great when you can bring them along as well with stuff like that. Because you make it into like a semi-holiday.
100%.
Yeah,
100%.
great.
So I do feel quite lucky in that regard that I can just drag them along if ever they're up for it.
Yeah, absolutely.
But, yeah. What about you?
Good question. I think I've told everyone who's spoken to me in the last week or so knows what's going on with my knee. Falling off the bike again, mate. It's not good. It's proper. I've done a number on myself here.
Your knee looks horrendous.
Is it all that bad?
Yeah.
I think it looks worse than it feels.
It looks terrible.
It felt horrendous last week. It was bad. But this week it doesn't feel too bad. It's just, it's got a lot of fluid in there, hasn't it? It's bruising down the back. I was doing coffee bike on a canal, basically, by the side of a canal. There's a path going down the edge of it, and there's tree roots who've gone underneath the pathway. They've created these little speed bumps. There's a few early doors which I've managed to kind of deal with, and then there's a couple right at the back end of this canal route, and the back end's just flipped me over. I'm almost like head over the handlebars, tucked my knees under to try and catch myself and landed on my right knee. And as soon as it happened, I couldn't believe how much fluid was in there. It just ballooned up to the point where I was like, it was like comical. Like, I was like shaking it around like a little balloon.
Jelly knee.
Yeah, I got back home and Amy felt physically sick. She's like, I can't even look at it. It's making me feel ill. But I was like, I can walk on it. And this happened 15k in. So I still had 61k to do. So I jumped back on the bike and I was like, well, if I can do another few kilometres, I should be all right. It was aching, it was sore. But yeah, I got it done. And then I went all the way from Sheffield round to Rotherham, ended up at Worksop. And then when I got to Worksop, I got a flat tyre.
Oh,
My first ever flat tyre. I've never changed a flat tyre. I actually don't know how to change a tyre on a bike either. I had all the kit on me to do it. I'd never done it. So I had to jump off this bike with my gammy leg, started changing this tyre. I was there for an hour and 15 minutes on YouTube. And it was stupid because I was there in the morning in Worksop, surrounded by Halfords, B&Q, all these places where I could probably go and change the tyre if I needed to. But it was like, what was it, 5:30, 6 in the morning? So nowhere was open for like another 4 hours. I'm ringing Amy, she's in bed, she ain't answering. So I'm stranded in Worksop. Obviously, by this point, I don't know what's going on with my knee. I did have X-ray, by the way, nothing sinister, no ligament damage either, just a bad swelling, I think. But yeah, I've had to YouTube, literally on the side of the road, YouTube in this video. I've gone into this corner shop. Bloke's come out the corner shop because it's early in the morning. He's helping me out, holding the bits. It was. I took a picture of the little selfie at the end of it because he gave me a lion bar, let me use his toilet, gave me some water.
Nice.
But yeah, people just really nice as well. You know when you're really in need, and like I was in a real moment of need there. My leg was fucked. My bike tyre's gone. I'm in the middle of Worksop at 6 o'clock in the morning. And he just helped me out. Just give me a seat to sit on. Just look, mate, chill out, relax, stay here for as long as you need. If you want me to call you missus, you can do. You can stay here for as long as. I was like, this is so nice.
Do you want to know a really weird, like, I suppose, canon event in Worksop? Right. So I guarantee, because you said there were Halfords around and stuff like that, when I used to work for an assessing company, my car actually exploded. Like the engine just blew up.
Right.
Years and years ago at the roundabout outside of Halfords. Which I've got a sneaky suspicion you're in a similar.
It's funny actually. I think I was heading towards a roundabout where Halfords was when my tyre went.
That's where my car blew up.
Was it really?
Yeah,
that's interesting.
It's like the Bermuda Triangle.
I know. Yeah. What's yeah? Everything just goes to put.
Yeah.
What's the chance of that?
What are as you were saying it, I'm like, surely is it saying Worksop near an Halfords?
Yeah.
I remember I took it into Halfords and I'm like,
Halfords was right in front of me. There was a B&Q behind me.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just one of those nightmare situations. But I managed to get the tyre pumped up and changed after a lot of trial and error, and then did the rest of the other 30k back to Sheffield. But
I respect it.
Yeah, I got back and it was in a bad way. Yeah,
right. Well, speedy recovery.
Thank you, mate. Well, I was supposed to have a
mate.
triathlon this weekend, but that ain't happening. I don't think. I'm trying to be optimistic, but in the back of my mind, I'm like, there's just no way. There's no way it's going to recover in time and be all right. But
fingers crossed. Would you like a dad joke before we dive into some?
Absolutely, hit me up, mate.
Vape. So this is very vape inspired, actually.
Is it? Okay,
yeah. Go on. Sorry, compose. Did you hear about the guy who evaporated?
No.
He'll be missed.
Very nice. I like that. Good one.
I had to make
Very
it.
on brand.
Yeah, got to make it on brand, mate.
Yeah. Good start.
Got to be done.
Right, should we dive into some facts and figures about vaping?
Kick on.
So, like I said, a lot of things happened in 2025, and there's still a lot of studies ongoing, but a lot of things haven't been published. There's some good and bad things, to be honest with you. I was quite surprised at some of the positives, weirdly, around vaping. But let me give you some facts and figures. 5.5 million adults in Great Britain, roughly 10% of the population currently vape. 16% of 16 to 24-year-olds vape. That's approximately 500,000 people. 500,000 16 to 24-year-olds. I actually thought it'd be higher than that, if I'm being honest with you. That's the facts. 5% of 11 to 15-year-olds vape.
5% of 11 to
15-year-olds vape.
Wow.
Yeah, that's interesting, isn't it?
That is nuts.
5% of the population, 250,000, have never smoked or vaped, ever.
That's me.
Is it really?
Yeah.
260,000 people, approximately, have never smoked or vaped.
Okay, I've got a somewhat confession.
Okay.
The only thing I've ever smoked is a cigar.
Is it?
And I made it myself.
Well, I guess did you make it yourself?
Make it myself, yeah.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, in Cuba.
Wow,
Yeah.
good man, I
On
like
a
that.
cigar farm. That's what you call them.
I mean, that's as Cuban as a Cuban cigar gets, isn't it?
Worse
Making your own.
And all I could think is, my mum's going to kill me. that's all I could
The
think.
fear.
Yeah.
Well, before we go any further, I've got a confession to make, mate. Up until January this year, I vaped for 4 years.
Really? I did not know that.
I knew you'd be shocked by that.
You were a secret vapor.
I was a secret vape for 4 years.
All right.
Up until this year. Every time you've been round this house, I was vaping.
I just thought it were candles that smelled nice.
What's that juicy lemon smell going around here? Strawberry dreams.
Got some bubble gum candles going on.
Yeah,
No, that surprised me. That. I don't know why. I don't know why it surprised me. You're a grown man.
I told you know what? This is an episode I've wanted to do for a long time because I've wanted to discuss this because it was always like a dirty little secret of mine. And then there's someone inspired me actually to do this and talk about this today. It was a guy called Bill Maeda. Do you know Bill Maeda?
Bill Maeda?
Yeah.
No. You want to talk to me about Bill Maeda?
He's a Chinese immigrant to the US.
Okay.
And he's got an awesome social media in phenomenal nick. He's like 50 odd, maybe pushing 60. And he's been like the pinnacle of health. Super shredded, does these videos with kettlebells and stuff, and he looks absolutely like a god. But great, just great for his age, basically. Yeah. And he came out recently and was like, I'm a chronic smoker of weed. I've had a real problem with weed for like most of my life. I've never told my followers. I think he's got millions of followers online. He's like, I've never told anyone about this. Like, some of my closest people know me, my business partners know, but no one apart from that knows that I smoke weed. And I was like, whoa, I never would have guessed that. And I thought, but I respect him more now. I kind of respect him more for him coming out and being honest about it and being very, and all the comments were great, perfect. So people saying I've had issues with weed. You make yourself more relatable because no one's perfect. And I think I was trying to kind of brandish this idea of like me being the pinnacle of health, and it was even bad lying to my clients like sometimes, you know what I mean, about this stuff. And people would ask my opinions on vaping and I'd kind of keep my mouth shut and be very non-vocal around it. But everyone's got like a way of coping with stress. And for me, it's always been smoking. I smoked a little bit. I smoked for about 18 months when I was in uni as well. That was cigarettes. And then the vaping really started in 2021 when I had 5 stag do's in 6 months.
Okay. 5
stag do's in 6 months.
Heightened stress, if ever I've heard.
Yeah. I had 2 stag do's in the space of 2 weeks.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember getting back. I went on a stag do Friday to Sunday. I was in work Monday to Wednesday. On Thursday, I was on a stag do. So I guess you could even say in 10 days, I had 2 stag do's. But everyone was smoking and vaping and drinking and stuff. I just got into the habit of vaping, basically. Just
trying it out.
Yeah. And then obviously, I was always a bit of a social smoker. I'd go on nights out with friends, drink, have a bit of vape, smoke. I'd be fine. Wasn't bothered about it during the day. And in that period of time, I just started doing it in between them and then got hooked. I quit about 4 or 5 times.
Fair.
And when the first time was pretty tough, and there was a few times it was actually quite easy. It wasn't that hard at all. And I got a bit cocky with it. I was like, oh, I've quit now. So when I go for a drink with some friends, I'd have a bit on their vape, and I'd buy one for the night out. And that night out one wouldn't just last you a night out, it'd last you 2 or 3 days, and then you're back on it before you know it. So this year, after I'd quit drinking in 2024, or to start of 2025, start of 2026, I said, right, what's the next thing that's got to go? And it had to be vaping.
I thought this episode would just be 2 PTs just bashing vapes, but I think this adds a nice dynamic to it, actually, where you've got that anecdotal experience of, I suppose, the feeling about it. So it's
well, this is what gives it quite a unique insight. 'Cause I can give you I can say exactly what it's like. And do you know what I absolutely despise? People who go online and slate people for vaping. Because everyone's got a different way of coping with stress. All you're seeing is their coping mechanism and you're slating that.
Yeah.
That's all you do. And it actually puts a bigger reflection on the person who's doing it, I think, than the person who's actually vaping. Because if you dig a bit deeper into these people's lives, I guarantee they've got vices that they use to cope with stress. There's no doubt about it. I'm not going to name him, but there's a PT in Sheffield who has been quite vocal about his opinions around vapes and just slating people online for him. And I remember watching these as a PT who vaped, and I was looking at him just thinking, you're about 30% body fat, you mate. You've got a bit of an issue with food deep down, there's no doubt about it. He will post pictures of his tops off. and he's not a lean lad, and he's having a go at people who vaped, you've got a bit of an issue with food. And you've probably also got a bit of an issue with alcohol as well, because I knew he was a bit of a drinker. And I remember thinking, all he's doing is just seeing a cheap way at getting some likes and attention, and he's gone in for the kill. And it really just made my opinion of him drop. And I think he probably thought he was doing great things by calling out vapors, but like I said, everyone's got a different way of coping with stress. Mine has always been smoking, unfortunately, and now I've quit. It's quite freeing, actually.
Yeah,
it's nice, but it does make you look at the people who are very judgmental around it and look at them differently.
If there's one thing this podcast taught me, it's about being informed. It's about being very open-minded. I mean, we had Dave Crosland on last week, and that is the most I've ever listened about any sort of substance or drug. That's the most I've ever asked questions about it. And I felt like I left with just such a more well-rounded approach and an understanding that for some people it can feel like a dependency because it gives them worth. And
Yeah.
I mean, again, transparently, mate, I've had a really, really tough sort of 3-4 months. And there's been times where I'm thinking, right, how do I cope with this? What do I do?
What is your, like, because obviously you're not vapes, you're not a drinker, I know that about you. Like, what's your coping strategy? What do you use?
Genuinely, there's nothing. And I think that's part of the issue. I will let...
Is training part of it? Like, get to the gym and go and having a bit of an outlet? Is running a bit of an outlet for you as well?
A bit of both. I think because I've taken it to the extreme before and used it as like a punishment side of things. So I would feel nothing, as in like a bit of a numb, depressive state, and then go and put myself through pain to feel something, which is, again, very hard to talk about. But as far as a substance goes, I've just never... I don't think I have a coping mechanism. I think that's my issue, where I'm probably... You look at maybe beliefs that you hold really deep. Like my granddad, he was a big smoker and he passed away, I think, from lung cancer. I didn't really know my granddad when he was younger. But I always had it in my head that, right, I'll never go anywhere near like cigarettes or smoking. And the people who were close to me were drinking. I never really immersed myself in that culture. So I alienated substances from quite a young age. And I think I've never really been tempted with it. So I don't know. It's a good question, actually. You've got me thinking, because I don't really know how I cope with stress.
Some people just are able to decompartmentalise and go away and have a good hard think about things and be very, what's the right word? Just retrospective in everything that's happening in their life, and they can break things down and they can not be so worried about it because they've got time to process. I feel like with the way my life is, I don't really get that kind of decompression and processing time. So something like, and I've got a very addictive personality, mate. I think in another lifetime I'm a crack addict. Honestly, and I'm not even saying that lightly.
In a parallel universe
In a
somewhere.
parallel universe, I'm on the street somewhere, a heroin addict. There's no doubt about it. I can't, in everything that I do, I can't just do it a little bit. I have to do it a lot. I have to do it to extremes. Doesn't matter if it's like alcohol, workouts, training, drugs, anything that I've dabbled in the past. I can't just do it a little bit. I have to do it a lot, and I understand that about myself as well, which is why I'm able to kind of sometimes rein it back in. And I have to channel that very addictive nature into more positive things. I think there's a big correlation between my training ramping up and my, lack of my coping mechanisms. Alcohol was probably a bit of a coping mechanism to a certain degree when I had my big blowouts with my friends. Quit that in 2025. Quit vaping in 2026. So now I've not got many things to rely on. So I think training for me, getting out on my bike, getting out in the pool, swimming, running, lifting weights, that for me, all those things combined is like it's my stress reliever. It's the way I can just focus my attention on something and get quite obsessive over something that's more productive.
I wish I could relate to it. I mean, I'm someone I'm quite well-rounded. I've probably got a reputation for being a bit squeaky clean, a bit square. And hand on heart, that is probably true. Where like I am very square in terms of how I live my life and what I do. The closest thing I've probably gotten to really abusing something is again this exercise, and then I think I've erased this from my brain, so I can probably compartmentalize traumas in my mind and just disappear. But when my inflammation was really bad, I didn't have a diagnosis for arthritis, mate, I would turn into painkillers like you'd never know.
Yeah.
Just ibuprofen, I don't even want to say how many I were taking, because I sort of needed it to cope. And then obviously as things started to ramp up, I needed more and more and more. And then I sort of looked into the effects of having too many, and I just stopped, just overnight. And I think that's so. I'm probably the opposite to. I'm not a very addictive character. I'm very easily swayed with extreme ideologies to just be completely turned off by it.
Yeah.
And I think I appreciate that's quite rare. That's probably not the done thing for most people. I don't know why that is, but yeah.
It's admirable that you're not swayed by that. But I think there's two parts of my brain. There's the addictive part, and there's the part of like, I like a bit of a control freak. I like to be in control of things that happen as well. And when I can see things are getting a bit out of control, I have to pull the reins hard. And there's a very stubborn nature as well, where I'm like, nah, fuck that. I'm not gonna let this control me. And it controlled me for a long time. Vapes, it really did. I mean, I tried to quit once, and it was the most horrendous ordeal of my life. So bad. I didn't want to quit. I think it's like smoking or vapes or anything that you quit. If you're gonna quit, you have to be ready to quit. You have to make that decision. Like, I'm ready for this. And I remember it all through December last year, 2025. I knew on that as a year turned, I was going to stop. And I almost did it beforehand, but I thought, no, just be ready, be really ready to stop. And I knew I was ready. And it was hard, but it wasn't as hard as if I wasn't ready to stop. You have to make that mental kind of switch and say, this is it now, forever. And you can't go back. And funny enough, you'd think after like 6 months, I'd be over it. But even now, mate, even now when I have a stressful day or a stressful week, I get this weird urge to like, and it's difficult this time of year. Everyone's out in beer gardens, and I was going on Ecky Road the other day, and I saw someone vaping, and I was like, oh, shit, it's an extended look into his eyes, like, oh.
Yeah. What is it about it? Because this is something for me, hand on heart, I've never understood it.
It's an instant stress relief. As soon as you inhale that nicotine and your body's used to that nicotine, it instantly calms you down. It instantly calms. You can be super, super stressed about loads of stuff. Give me 5 puffs on a vape.
I'm about to chill out.
Yeah, I'm about to pay aside. I know it's still stressful. I know it's there, but I've just got that moment. It's like, I can't really explain it. It's like it becomes like homeostasis.
Right.
And that's the worrying thing about it.
Yeah.
Your body needs this now to be relaxed and calm. And I didn't like that. I needed that. And the worst thing for me is, and we'll get into some of the details around it, I knew that it wasn't as bad as smoking. And in fact, I knew it was a hell of a lot better than smoking. And I was always, even back then when I was vaping, I was always trying to keep up to date with the research. I always wanted to know what the latest studies were. And I'm like, this is great, because they're bringing out all this latest research as I'm vaping. So I want to know. The worrying thing was when it was come back as not being as bad, I was like, well, it's okay, I can keep going with this. Do you want to say what the most horrendous thing was that I hated about it? I had a really bad whooping cough.
Really?
A really bad whooping cough, yeah. All the time. Like, just constantly, I'd be out on a run, and it'd be like, it's like phlegm that was caught in your lungs. I just couldn't get up. I couldn't push this phlegm out, and it was like it was always there. And people used to say to me, oh, you got a bit of a smoker's cough. I was like, oh, and I'd play it down. I was like, oh, I'm just ill. I'm just getting a bit under the weather this week. And fair enough. But yeah, now I'm not done it for 6 months. It's like, it almost does feel like a different lifetime. It feels like a different part of it, something that I'd, like, happened years ago, even though it was only 6 months. I know I'll never go back. I'm too into everything else now.
I think what's cool is that you've brought this to the table. And again, for context, like, I've thought about doing this for a while. I actually reached out to Mark Pearson, who's a client of mine. He's been on the show. And Mark has to educate like hairstylists and hairdressers in his academy. And one of the things Mark's really passionate about is vaping and education about that. And
why is that?
I think it's more from a health intervention perspective for Mark.
Okay.
And obviously it's really disruptive.
Yeah.
If someone's just, and I think that's one thing that I've really picked up on, where it's so easy to do. I've been talking to people sometimes and they're just, and I'm like, where the fuck did that come from?
Yeah.
And they just like, just pull it out and just,
it's like,
like what?
Yeah, it's like, it's like if someone pulling out a cigarette and just puffing a cigarette and putting it back down.
Yeah, but it takes away the friction, I imagine, from like, if you start a cigarette, if you light up, you're there taking drags until it's gone.
Yeah.
Whereas with vape, it's always there. It's always in your hand. It's that little box of stress relief.
That was the biggest issue. Like there's a whole process with a cigarette. You have to go outside. You have to be out in the house to stink. You sometimes have to roll it up. If you, like my brother smokes, he has like rollies. You have to go outside. With vaping, I literally just sat in my office for hours on end with this thing in my mouth.
Yeah.
And people take the piss and call it like a USB. You're fucking smoking a USB stick, mate. And I get that. I get all the banter around it.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, you know, it's a coping mechanism for a lot of people, and it was my go-to. And obviously, I mentioned there my brother smoked as well. I wonder whether it was something that my dad instilled, because my dad was a smoker. Probably up until the age of me being about 5 or 6, maybe later. My dad was always a smoker.
I wonder what the stats are for that. You know, very similar to other lifestyle factors where kids might pick it up because their parents do it, or
Obviously, we spoke about obesity, and something like you're 40% more likely to be obese or overweight if you've got overweight or obese parents. 40%, that's huge. You've got almost like a 50-50 chance of being overweight as a kid, as an adult.
yeah, just because
your parents were. So it has to have an effect. And I remember my dad once giving me a drag of his cigar, because he used to like cigars as well. And I remember a bit like when he first gave me a sip of his whiskey, I was like put off forever. I was like, I'll never, ever go down that route. But was that something then? Was there something when he gave me that was like, oh, even though it's horrible in the moment, it plants something in you.
have you tried them since, cigars?
Oh, yeah.
I was
I
shocked.
wouldn't have them. I probably wouldn't have them now, really, because I think it's just too close to the getting back into the smoking thing.
Before we dive into the stats, I mean, two things. First one, before I dive into a bit of a cigar story, I suppose just a little bit of a kudos for you, because I appreciate that must be like a bit of a secret life for you. And maybe
It feels quite freeing, actually, to come on here and be honest about it, because it's been a dirty little secret for a long time. And I say that like it's a bad thing. Like, it's not. We've all got like our vices. Yeah. If I was telling you I was having like a glass of wine every night, or 2 or 3 glasses of wine every night, you go, it's bad, but it's all right, you know. If I told you I was having a pack of 20 cigs every day, you go, fucking hell. Like, it's almost like what's so different? Why is it so bad? Like
culture, probably culture, yeah.
I mean, I don't know. It's difficult to compare to alcohol to nicotine, but we know that alcohol generally, in terms of health factors, is a lot worse. And you can smoke for a lot longer without seeing the downsides.
Yeah. I think shame's a big part of it as well, because if you've not spoken about it before or hidden it from your clients, there's probably an element where you thought, I'm here, Mr. Health and Fitness, and I'm living this secret life to relieve a bit of stress. Like, so fair play to you. I think that's, you know, it's not something you had to.
Do you know what's also worse as well?
Say.
Like, I was running half marathons, doing crazy high roxes, all while vaping. Like, I did it all, and it didn't. Did it affect me? Maybe. Made things a little bit tougher in the training sometimes, but it never stopped me. Like, I never used it as an excuse. And it's the way you hide it. It's the seedness around it. So I'd go to Hyrox events and I'd be out in the toilets, like vaping, like just before I go out. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Just getting all my hits. I know for the next hour or so, I'm not going to have it. You'd be around here for a few hours and it's the toilet. There's a seediness around it as well. I really didn't like, because you don't want to accept it. You don't want people to know that you're doing it, and it's difficult. It's got, like I say, it's got you by the balls a little bit. I mean, I didn't like that factor of it.
A word we've not said so far is nicotine. You know, that's the addictive property. Obviously, we've got some stats to read out as well, but that's one thing that really sort of tips me into actually trying like a cigar. When we were out in Cuba, we literally went to this tobacco farm and literally just, you know, got the tobacco leaves, rolled it up, did it all myself, dipped it in honey, and I'm looking going, this is just fucking plants.
Yeah.
That's it. I'm like, and I asked them, like, is there any nicotine in this? And they went, no, it's not addictive.
There's no nicotine
There's no
in
nicotine.
cigars?
No. But what there is tobacco. So the tobacco is the sort of stress relief. That is the substance that can affect you. And that night we went to an open air club in Cuba, which were pretty sick. Did some salsa dancing for anyone who's curious.
What you like salsa dancing, mate?
Not as good as Amy.
No, you're a bit of a square. I can't imagine it being very good.
Not as good as Amy, believe me. And we met some guys from Derby, or all places. Challenged me to a drag race, didn't they? So literally, cigar. I've never smoked before. How long
can you go for?
No, it's how quick you can get rid of it.
The whole cigar?
Yeah, mate, I've got some big lungs. Fucking smashed it.
Did you?
The next day, I've never felt as ill in my life. You know, in Pinocchio when he turns green?
Yeah.
Like that. That was not good.
It does make you feel like, I remember when I first got into the vaping a few years ago, you can overdo it sometimes, where if you have too much, you feel sick. You can get so much nicotine that you feel a bit queasy, actually. You can overdo it sometimes. Should we continue with some of the stats
Do it.
around this? We've been over, obviously, the numbers of people in the UK that are currently vaping. But how does vaping work? Well, this is the process. And obviously, we can cover vaping and smoking, but I'm going to try and keep it very vaping orientated today. You inhale on a mouthpiece of this, in air quotes, USB stick. The airflow sensor triggers the battery. The battery sends a current to the coil, heating it to around 200 to 250 degrees. How crazy is that? You're literally puffing on something, and in that thing, something's being heated to 200 and 250 degrees. The cotton wick soaked in the e-liquid sits against the hot coil. The liquid vaporizes into an aerosol, technically not steam or smoke. It's a suspension of tiny liquid droplets in air. You inhale that aerosol into your lungs, nicotine crosses into your bloodstream via the lung tissue, reaching your brain in roughly 10 to 20 seconds, comparable to a cigarette. So it's basically the same as a cigarette, essentially. What is in the liquid then? So obviously it goes e-liquid thing. Propylene glycol, a thin, slight liquid that carries flavour and produces a stronger throat hit. It uses a fog, used in fog machines and food products. So fog machines also use propylene glycol. Vegetable glycerine, a thicker, sweeter liquid that produces more vapour but less throat sensation. Most liquids are PG or VG blend, which is basically, I think, is that vegan? I think it's VG. Often 50 to 50 or 30 to 70. Nicotine, either freebase nicotine, the older style, harsher, a bit stronger, or nicotine salt, smoother, allowing a much higher concentration to be inhaled comfortably. The UK legal limit is 20 milligrams per milliliter, or 2%. So when I used to get the vapes, they always used to say like what the percentage was. 2% is like the legal limit. But
Okay.
I remember a friend once going to a foreign country and bringing one back at like 5%, and it was like, gee, when you get like a big hit of nicotine, you can tingle a little bit. You kind of feel it really like down your fingers and your arms. It's like a tingly sensation. You feel a bit like light almost. I can't really explain it. There's obviously some flavourings in there as well, but that's obviously what gives it the flavour and feeling. It's worth mentioning that the figures we mentioned earlier are also on the decline, believe it or not.
Okay.
So in adults, we've seen the first decline since records began in 2012. It's currently at 5.5 million, but it was up at 5.6 million last year. So it's the first sign of people declining in their use of vapes. We think this is basically related to the UK law that came in around disposable vapes. You're not allowed to have these disposable ones now. You have to have rechargeable ones.
Yep.
It's a small inconvenience, but it has obviously curbed a few people, myself included. In 16 to 24-year-olds, the percent is also down from 17% down to 16% from 2003. So it is coming down in young people as well, according to the stats. So what does it do internally? Obviously, we know, I mean, it's seen as not being great, but actually, what is it inside that's the issue? Well, on the short-term basis, one review found that one vape session causes a measurable inflammatory response and short-term blood vessel stiffening. So when we look at kind of health markers for the cardiovascular system and your heart, it's the stiffening of the vessels from smoking over time that can really cause you some issues. So even just one vaping session can cause that. Longer term effects. So a 2025 meta-analysis found that vapers have a 53% higher odds of myocardial infarction, which is basically a heart attack, compared to non-users. Though it's worth noting, cigarette smokers carry a 200 to 400% increase. And again, this is it. So a 53%, you're 53% more likely to have a heart attack if you vape. But if you smoke, you're 200 to 400% more likely to have a heart attack.
I mean, them stats are
crazy, right?
interesting, yeah.
So compared to smoking, it's a lot better. No, not just a quarter better, potentially up to, ridiculous amounts.
That was one thing that I was curious about, like the pros. I know you said there's a handful of pros in there, which is essentially is less harmful than cigs. I think that's a key thing to say. And a lot of smokers, I imagine, have quit through vaping as well.
this is what something I'm going to get onto. So these are negative effects. I'm going to get to the positives in a sec. 21% of 16 to 19-year-olds currently vape, and they felt... Sorry, let me start again. 21% of 16 to 19-year-olds who currently vape reported they felt very addicted. 43% felt a little addicted. These numbers are actually quite comparable to smoking as well. So people who smoke cigarettes compared to vapes, very similar in terms of their surveys and research. But again, that is just a survey. It's not like hard evidence and facts. But how do we measure addiction? It's difficult, isn't it? Everyone's addictive levels are slightly kind of different, but 21% are feeling like they probably couldn't quit.
I mean, because to quote him again, Dave Crosland basically said an addiction is when you can't give something up very easily. It's almost like your relationship to that thing is now dependent, or that substance or that person is quite dependent, rather than having a healthy relationship where you can stop at any time.
Yeah. Just moving away from like as vapes as a singular, I'm looking more at nicotine now. So nicotine is the most addictive substance based on studies of all the major drugs. The most cited study is from 1994 by Henningfield and Benowitz, which ranks substances on 5 dimensions. Here's the rough order from most addictive to least addictive. Most addictive. Oh, let's start least addictive, shall we? Least addictive. At number 6 is cannabis. Number 5, caffeine. Big shout out to Monster. Alcohol was number 4. Cocaine, number 3. Heroin, number 2. Nicotine, number 1.
Wow.
Yeah, so nicotine was done. This is a 1994 study ranking substances on 5 different dimensions. I'm not sure what those 5 dimensions were, but nicotine came out on top.
If they got in molecular with that as well, and seeing maybe the effects that it has, maybe the ease of use, because I've never done heroin, but I imagine it's quite difficult to source / do. But if you've got a vape shop on every corner,
oh yeah,
how easy is that going to be to just...
I mean, we're literally peddling. I mean, the top 2 of the top 4 ranked addictive substances that we know of, you can buy them at any shop on the high street.
Yeah.
I mean, you can literally go into Asda and buy a vape. You can go into Asda and buy alcohol. They're in the top of all the top 4 substances that are addictive. 2 of them you can buy at most supermarkets.
Vapes, they seem to come out of the blue for me. I don't remember vapes just being a thing. I don't know if it's because I'm removed from that world. And then one day I remember just seeing these little USBs. People
do you remember like back in the first vapes weren't called vapes, they were called e-cigarettes.
Yeah.
And it was an actual cigarette,
yeah,
but with a little blue light at the end.
I do remember that, yeah. Yeah, I do remember
and
that.
You press a little button on top.
Yeah.
And you have a little drag, and it looked like a normal cigarette. Now they do everything they can to not look like cigarettes. I mean, some of them look like fucking I mean, what would you describe like some of these massive, huge vapes? They're like hand grenades almost.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Hand grenades with a little spout on top that you suck out of. And they're doing all sorts of like mad colours and flashing, and they're making it like really appealing to kids. Like if you go into the supermarket and look at the vapes and the colours, they're obviously appealing to a younger audience. They know that's a massive portion of their market. Here it is.
I mean, for any history nerds out there, I took the liberties just looking into like the history of vaping, because I thought they can't have just come out of nowhere. Like anything like this seems like a bit of an overnight success for the sellers. But I've got some notes about the modern e-cigarette was invented in China in 2003 by a pharmacist called Hon Lik after his father died from smoking-related illnesses.
Interesting.
So it's quite a well-meaning endeavour. Where he's like...
Well, China's really bad for smoking.
I've heard this.
Yeah.
Is it all in-house, isn't it, as well? They make their own.
Yeah.
Have you seen...
They're super cheap. They're really easy to get hold of. Before I bought this house, I rented a house up the road here, and the owner was Chinese. And I remember one time he owned a building company or some kind of... I think it was a granite work surface company. And he sent some of his boys over to do some repairs at the house. And they were literally chain smoking. And I went in there for you. I was like, lads, you're stinking the whole house out with cigarettes. It's nuts. And they're like, sorry, we'll go outside. They never did. And I couldn't believe just literally one after another after another. And even the guy who came round, he was quite a respectable guy, drove a nice little BMW, dressed in a suit, constantly smoking, chain smoking all day, cigarettes all day, every day.
I watched a video on it last week, actually, about sort of the history of Chinese smoking and why it's why it's so prevalent. So if you've not seen it,
Yeah, sure,
I'll ping
send it over.
to you.
Absolutely.
And again, just to back up what you said, the explosion happened when disposable vapes, sweet flavors, and colourful branding arrived at around 2021, 2023.
Was it?
Yeah, apparently that's when I think that's when I started paying attention, when the branding's really, packaging's really bright, and you think. But then I suppose the key thing for me with all this is, it started to become, well, it was actually created, let me reword that. It was created to be a quit smoking tool.
Yeah.
And then it all of a sudden became this cultural trend.
It's a culture thing now, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
People don't even try and use it to quit smoking. They will just jump to e-cigarettes and vapes. And there was a guy I was coaching a few years back. I think he was 16, 17. And he was obviously doing his GCSE. I think maybe he was entering into college. And he just told me that when you literally leave the school, it's like, the phrase he used was, it's like being in the Victorian times. There was just a cloud of smoke over the playground where everyone was just vaping, and because you can't really tell kids not to do that. I think he was actually at college. I think he's in his first year of college at 17, and you can't really tell a 17-year-old that you can't. I think you can buy it from 16, can't you? Is that right now?
I think so.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm sure
have they put the legal age up? I think they put the legal age of vapes up.
Let me have a look. What age can you buy a vape in the UK? You must be 18 to legally buy any vaping product.
Interesting.
Even 0% nicotine vapes. I did not know they existed.
I know they existed because once when I was vaping, I got one by accident. I was puffing on this thing going,
Why not tingling?
wow, yeah, I feel like I'm still pranking out here. And that's the other thing as well, like, if you ran out, or you went into I was like a crack addict. Yeah. I was like, I'll be literally, it's like waking up with, I don't know, like a hangover. And you just can't, you've got this real sense of like, nothing is going to like get in my way until I get what I want today. And when I've like, when you're hungover and you can't be asked anything, everything gets on your nerves and you're in a foul mood and you just want a takeaway. I was like that. I was like just a crack addict. I was just, it was bad. Yeah. Really, again, just another reason why you just don't want to be that guy. And the logistics of so many different things, going out for like big hikes with someone. I remember going on a family holiday once and I ran out of my vape as soon as I got there, and we're in the middle of nowhere. I remember like panicking, going, what the fuck am I going to do? How am I actually going to get through this weekend? Oh, what a stupid, ridiculous thought that is.
A question I've written down here, Ryan, is if a smoker switches completely to vaping, is that a win?
Yes, 100%. Based on the facts and figures, like if you look at the heart attack stats, it's got to be a win.
It's a massive win.
Yeah, huge. And I think, one thing I will just jump to now is there's a section here where I put the not so bad with vapes. And one thing which was been proved is vapes are the UK's most successful quitting aid. Among UK adults who successfully quit smoking in the past year, over 40% used vape as part of their attempt, compared with 10% who used traditional NRT like patches or gums. Okay. So it is phenomenally effective. Like 40% of people who quit smoking used a vape. They went via a vape. So it does give you that kind of like little impetus to be like, I can do this. But the tricky thing is you can do it wherever you want. You can probably get more nicotine into you on a daily basis, because I could do it in here and it wouldn't affect anything.
Am I right in thinking there's no laws against it? Is it just recommendations?
Yes.
Or am I right in thinking it's like you can't smoke indoors?
But I'm not sure what the rules are. I think with private companies and places of restaurants, things like that, I think they set their own rules. I'm not sure what the UK laws are.
I find that bizarre, because if it's still a similar product, because I've seen people just do it, just like I said, just talking to me, and the next minute it's like
I'm not sure.
A cloud of smoke.
I'm not sure if there's maybe you could pull this up. What are the stats around second-hand smoking from vapes? Because you used to get, back in the day, there was quite a famous blues singer who never smoked, but he would perform in these clubs where everyone would be smoking, and he ended up getting lung cancer.
Wow.
Because he was performing around people who were constantly smoking.
I'll read it out word for word.
Yeah.
Second-hand exposure to vaping contains fewer toxins than cigarette smoke, but is not harmless.
Okay.
Bystanders are exposed to nicotine, ultrafine particles, and volatile organic compounds. So it's better than secondhand smoke, but it's not perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's this thing as well called popcorn lung.
Have seen this.
Have you heard of this?
Yeah.
So I think if you smoke it, vapes enough and consistently enough, and you're probably not getting enough oxygen, you can basically have, I'm not sure, I'm going to butcher it, but there was something I read a while back. What it was basically suggesting is your lungs take in this oil, right? So they're kind of breathing this oil, this vapor. It's getting around some of your main, what they called, alveoli, is it in your lungs? Yeah. And they just basically pop them and they stop them from working, and they get flooded to the point where they don't work ever again. So you can actually, in the long run, I think, cause yourself more issues and more harm from a cardiovascular point of view. Your fitness can get almost ruined to the point of no repair, shall we say, if you're not careful.
Yeah. Just have a look at a picture of it now, and it's not allowing me to pull up the actual clinical image, but it's giving me like again a bit of an animated version. Yeah, like cartoony.
There's studies as well of teenagers who've just had collapsed lungs.
Wow.
Yeah, because their lungs will get so overwhelmed with all this vape smoke that they just give up. There was a girl, I think, maybe was it shared on that Sheffield Online or something like that? A girl who was just vaping in a room, and all of a sudden just couldn't breathe. The chest went really tight. Went to the doctors, and they're like, "Yeah, your lungs collapsed." And they did some scans, and it was just filled with oil from these vapes. Yeah.
I would like to play the role, Ryan, of a parent to a teenager.
Okay.
Who is dead against it.
Am I the teenager?
Maybe.
Am I the naughty teenager? Am I the naughty teenager who's been vaping?
So someone like myself, all right, who's never leaned into this stuff before and doesn't understand it. And then all of a sudden their child comes home and they've got a vape. And they're just saying, just put it down. Like, I want to know how that person can actually understand. Maybe as a deterrent, because I've put down here, as far as cons of vaping go, young brains do appear to be more sensitive to nicotine addiction. So if you do not want your child picking this up, I mean, again, as a teenager, you're going to be rebellious anyway. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. I think it's a miracle that I never turned to it. Again, I think it's because my mum would have killed me, but that's one of the reasons. But yeah, I mean, because people don't understand them, I always think like if your parent pushes against you so heavily and when you need to stop that, you look ridiculous, look like you're putting a USB stick in. How many teenagers are just going to go, don't care, I'm going to do it anyway?
It's like most things with teenagers. You tell them not to do something, they want to do it. Even like toddlers, if you tell them not to go in the medicine drawer, what do they want to do? They want to go in that medicine drawer.
I feel triggered.
I think you've just got to let them, and this is going to be a really hard thing as my children get older, letting them do the things that I did. That's going to be a really, really hard pill to swallow, because I don't want them to do the things I did. I want them to live. I want them to be a better person than me. But I've gone full circle, right? Where I'm at in my life right now is probably the healthiest in terms of the decisions. I don't drink. I don't vape. I probably eat the cleanest I think I've ever eaten in my life. I move as much as I've ever moved, train as much as I've ever trained. But I've had to go round the ringer through my teens and 20s to get to this place at the ripe old age of 35 now, where I feel like I'm in a good spot. I've had to make those decisions. You couldn't just tell me from 15 years old, don't ever do those things, and me go, yes sir, no sir, how, 3 bags full sir. I'm not that kind of kid. I'm just not. I've got to make all those decisions. I've got to make every bad decision you can make in life. I've pretty much made, but it's got me to this place right now where I'm like, I think I'm pretty well rounded. And I think if they want to go down that same path as kids, I've kind of got to facilitate it. I can't say no because I did it. Do you know what I mean?
At the risk of sounding like the king of cliches, there is an old one that says, to be old and wise, you've got to be young and stupid. I'm not calling you young and stupid, Ryan, for doing this.
Oh, no, I was. No, 100%. No,
but I think you've got to make some silly decisions.
Mate, I am 100%. I'm not even batting against that. It was like the stupidest thing is at 34 years old, vaping and being like, I'm doing what all the kids do, like I'm doing what teenagers do. It was nuts. Like it is, there's a certain sense, and this is why, again, it's that shame around it almost, but I don't care now because I'm over it. I've done it. I've made the mistake. When you come out the back end, it's okay to kind of look back and say, fine, it's done, it's dusted. In the moment, it's hard to talk about because there's still a big sense of shame. I don't really care what anyone thinks anymore. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm fitter than most people. I think I'm stronger than most people. I'm probably healthier than most people. And you know, I'll argue that vapes are better than alcohol. I really will. I think if you vape your whole life and you drink your whole life, I think you're going to be much worse off from drinking than you are vaping. I'll go as far as saying that. I'm not sure. Again, I'm just anecdotal from what I've seen, and there's some loose research in there that what we know about alcohol for sure is being one of the most detrimental drugs to health. Maybe not the most addictive, but definitely to health. I mean, but people are happy to drink. People are happy to slag off vapes and how bad they are while sitting on having a sesh on a Saturday night drinking beer. Nuts in my mind. Again, you can tell that Coach has pissed me off, can't you?
I can, yeah, I can sometimes.
But I've seen loads of those videos online of people just slagging off vaping when it is just it's a coping mechanism for a lot of people. No different to anything else. Like, some people overtrain, they do. Like, some people train too much where it's a bad thing. They don't need to do it. They hit rhabdomyolysis and it actually becomes like a killer. Overtrain kills people. No one's having a go at those people. But for some reason, vapes. And again, monsters as well. Yeah. It's another thing, stigmatised.
It's really got me thinking, actually, like, how do I actually deal with stress? And I think it's very old school. Not even old school, because old school, they used to drink themselves or smoke. So there was always things there. I don't know, mate. I'm looking at myself now thinking, what do I do to de-stress? I can't think. It's probably escapism. It genuinely is just escapism. Yeah. It's going off into...
Some people like it's movies, it's series, it's Netflix. Yeah. It's a great way of just decompressing and chilling out and getting less stressed. I'm trying to think what other people do. Like, I've got a guy who plays Warhammer. He's got well into that. Loves painting. Loves going to the workshops they have in Sheffield and battling his Warhammer. That's his way of de-stressing. Books, some people read.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm not that guy. Do you know what I mean? I love reading, love listening to audiobooks, but my stress mechanisms are different to everyone else's.
To go back to that hypothetical where I'm scolding you as a naughty teenager, I've made some notes here about, okay, hypothetically, if you are a parent who wants to support their kids through the choices, I've made a note about, we need to remember that curiosity is one of the biggest reasons why people try stuff. So if they want to try it, like, again, is it going to kill them? Trying it a couple of times, decide if they like it or not.
Yeah.
If they do, I think the open conversation stuff is very, very helpful. I'm quite keen moving forwards to be quite open and honest with Ted. When the time is right, he's asking questions now about certain topics that I just cannot elaborate on because it will either... It's too much for him. So an example, he asked about religion the other day, why you can't say certain things in case it... Like, he started saying, like, Jesus Christ or oh my God.
Okay.
And I just think there's a bit of me that's like, look, it could offend some people. Do you know what I mean? Like, I've grown up to not, say the Lord's name in vain and all that shit.
I don't give a shit about that.
But again, I think because I'm aware of it and I just don't want an evolution. Fucking hell. But he said to me the other day, he's like, what did we evolve from? And I'm like, oh my God.
Wow,
right, okay.
Introspective kid.
I can't. I think you heard me talking to somebody about wolves and like that they were dogs one day. Dogs were once wolves. Yeah, once wolves. And you're like, what were we then? If like cats were lions and like, I'm like, oh God, I'm not getting into this. But I will be honest with him. If he wants to know, I'll talk to him about it. And
sometimes you have to kind of be aware of what they can comprehend and understand as well. Which does always amaze me what Harlow picks up. But she's curious, like Ted, and she gets to that age now where she wants to understand and know things. But I think you also have to be aware of your own kids and yourself and what I've always said, like, one of your biggest strengths is knowing your biggest weaknesses. And because I've got quite an addictive personality, you have to be very careful about what I get into and how, and when I get into something new, whether I want to go all in head first into this or not. And I think if Harlow or baby that's on the way is more like you, I might just be like, you know what, try it. Yeah. Like, who cares? And it's a difficult conversation to have when you talk about like nicotine and alcohol and drugs and things like that. And I'm sure Amy's screwing because Amy's very, very anti this stuff. But I made all my mistakes and it led me to where I am now, which I think is quite well-rounded.
As a pet, yeah.
I mean, I'm saying that like, you know, I believe what I am in my own current form as being quite well-rounded.
I don't think as a parent you can win. Because if you encourage them to try it and they get hooked on it, maybe there is going to be that resentment there from them, like, why did you let me try it? Why don't you just say, no, it's ridiculous, and now it's doing this to me?
I think you can. I think the first advice from any parent to their child will always be of hesitation. My first thing isn't going to be, please definitely try heroin. Go on, try it. 100%, give it a go. I'm not going to be like that, of course.
No.
I'm like, this drug fucks people's lives up. You know, and I think there's other things you can try. Right? Do you know what I mean? This is a really odd conversation. I can't believe I'm even saying this out loud. But I think there's recreational drugs that I think under the right circumstances can give you an exposure to what these things are and the power of them. And you can then make your own mind up. I think Portugal's a fantastic case study in this, because Portugal, every drug is legal to take. There is no drug in Portugal that's legal to possess or take. And when this law came in, they saw a massive spike in usage. Because obviously everyone was like, well, it's legal now. I might as well fucking try it. And then guess what? As the years rolled by, overall consumption massively dropped. And now Portugal's got one of the lowest cases of drug use in the world. But everything's legal to take. How does that work? Well, what they did was they said, try it, make up your own mind, and then go from there. Is there going to be some people that get found out and unfortunately go down a wrong path because of that? Of course. But again, this is knowing your own child.
Yep.
It's knowing yourself and what you're like.
The hard bit for me is trying to, again, put myself in that situation where I don't know about you, but personally, I feel much more respect now for my parents now that I'm a parent. And I don't think I felt that respect in my teens, in my early 20s. Whereas now I realise how difficult that job is to guide another human who was just a fledgling through life, and not by force either. You have to guide them. You have to give them trust. And I'm seeing it now where Ted wants to, you know, have people around and like play with his mates, and he loves being around me and Amy. But deep down, I'm like, I do want you to go and play with other kids. I do want you to go and have different experiences. And it's quite scary because inevitably they'll pick stuff up at school and they'll use different language and they'll use different, you know, annoying habits that we're like, oh God, here we go. But he's got to experience that. He's got to try things out. He's got to come and talk to me and Amy about it. Again, if he wants to. I hope he does. I think he'll speak to Amy more in our household. And I've seen it already. If he does something wrong at school, he will go and speak to Amy.
It's nice.
Which is quite nice, actually.
It's good that he can speak to one of you, whoever it is.
I thought it'd be me.
Did you?
I thought he'd speak to me.
Interesting.
But I don't know. Clearly I'm the...
I don't know, boys sometimes feel like they're going to get told off by their dad. Whereas the mum, I always used to go to my mum. And when I got my first speeding ticket, I just, it's that dreading feeling when you know you're going to have to at some point, because they pay for my insurance, right? So when I was like 17 years old, at some point they're going to have to renew it and it's going to show he's got 3 points in his license. I couldn't hide it from them. So I'm having a conversation with my mum and she was just really good and non-judgmental. She was like, you're an idiot. And I think you're a dick for doing it. And you shouldn't be speeding. But it is what it is. You made the mistake. Don't make it again. Do you know what I mean? And I've hand on heart, I've never had 3 points since. I think she handled it in a way. And I think the way you handle those situations can dictate how much worse that gets in the future for them.
I'm the opposite. I always spoke to my dad, mainly because I didn't want to worry my mum. My mum is a bit of a chronic worrier. So I was in college and I flipped my car onto its side.
Mega.
Yeah.
Love that.
Yeah,
I'm hoping you can tell me some mad story. Please chase. No.
In a car park, somebody
just turned too quickly. What were you driving? A Robin Reliant or something? Freewheeler? Fucking hell. How do you flip your car?
Did you want to give you the play-by-play?
I need to know now, mate.
Right.
Of course.
So there's a lorry in front of me. I see a lorry, like a little transit. And he didn't even indicate. He just turned right into this disabled bay to go and do a drop-off.
Right.
I've come speeding past him, just fucking smashed into me, tilted me onto my side.
Oh, shit.
So I'm like literally on the side of my car.
Oh, wow.
And I'm like, well, this is going to be a fun story, isn't it?
It all happens so quick, doesn't it?
So I climbed out and the guy gets hold of his neck.
Oh, does he?
Yeah. And he's in a big fucking transit. And I'm like, bro, I will give you something to be in pain about. I'm like, don't you even dare. My car's on his fucking side.
It's horrible when you see that, because if someone jumps out the car, starts grabbing the neck, I'm thinking, you're a weak individual. You are a weak, individual.
Now, my parents were in France, and I rung my dad. So I thought, I'm going to ring my dad first. He might not tell my mum, just to worry her. Or he might tell her in a better way than what I will be. And they were fine. They were absolutely brilliant with it. But, yeah. It were more,
They probably just feel worse that they can't be there for you. That's the bad
it were
thing.
more of a discerning, like, you dickhead.
Yeah, that's good though. That's the way you want to handle it. Because you know at some point they're going to get into some like little scrapes, and cars are death traps. They really are if you're not careful. I mean, statistically, cars are one of the most dangerous vehicles. The most dangerous vehicle. Well, maybe bikes are. But cars are more dangerous. You're more likely to have a car crash than you are on a plane and stuff like that. So you know at some point they're going to have scrapes and bumps. And if all it is you kind of rolling over very gently onto your side in a car, so be it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, my mates couldn't wait to push it back, to be honest. Like, let me get pictures first.
Was
like,
it a
so then
rocking job, was it?
Yeah, oh no, they just like jumped on it.
Did they?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Oh, what did I have? Peugeot 106. They were a bit of a shit heap, but first cars normally are, aren't they?
What was my first? Ford Focus. It was in mint, kind of a mint green colour.
green.
Oh, it was horrible, disgusting. But it had the biggest subwoofer you've ever heard in your life.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
That's what first cars are for.
Heard me coming before you saw me. Let's get back onto vapes then. So I
do it.
mentioned obviously there's some pretty good things, or some not so bad things, shall we say, about vaping. Obviously they're a really good quitting aid from smoking. But also a 2025 review found no significant incident or prevalent risk of cancer from vaping.
Okay.
It also found vapor contains fewer carcinogens than tobacco smoke, but however, cancer typically takes decades to develop, and vaping hasn't existed at a scale long enough to fully know. So the short-term studies on cancers are pretty good. They've got less carcinogens in them there. We're not seeing as many cancer-related deaths or incidences from vaping, but time will tell on that one, I guess. I guess another nod is just to nicotine as an overall as well. Like, there's some really good benefits to nicotine. And I definitely felt some of these when I was vaping. Improves attention and focus, especially on dull tasks. Boosts working memory and reaction time. Sharpens fine motor and control precision. 40 to 60% lower risk of Parkinson's in smokers contributed to nicotine. Trials show promise for motor symptoms in Parkinson's patients. Possible protective signals against Alzheimer's. Fascinating. Metabolic effects, suppresses appetite. I can definitely concur. Sometimes when I was hungry, I would just vape and the hunger would go away. Yeah, it was a really, really good nicotine, appetite suppressant. It raises metabolic rate by roughly 5 to 10%. Being studied at a weight management tool as well, which is fascinating, isn't it? Because obviously we've got all these kind of drugs now, these injections, Manjaro that you can take, but people are still looking at nicotine. I think it's a much more riskier source of losing weight, but I would definitely say that I was probably a little bit leaner as well. When I quit smoking earlier in the year, I definitely put on some weight, there's no doubt about that. Because when you quit smoking, one of the signals that it kind of ramps up is hunger. That need and that want for a drag of your vape or nicotine is very similar to that feeling of being hungry. So you often get this when people quit smoking, they gain quite a lot of weight because they eat because there's something inside that's missing. They feel like they're not full. Nicotine fills that gap.
From a performance side of things as well, you come across, I never know how to say it. Is it snuz or snooze?
Yeah,
Snuz
bags.
Yeah. I remember first seeing snuz bags when I used to play for. I'll give Matt a shout. Actually, I used to play for Swallownest, and when I was 18, went into changing rooms, and like three lads just like tucking some stuff under the gums.
Really?
And I'm like, what are you doing? And then they explain this, and they're like, I've just googled it now, just tucked under your upper lip, particularly in sports. It's due to its perceived ability to boost alertness, reduce stress, and curb appetite.
Yeah.
And
It does focus you, so one of the ways I stopped was nicotine gums. And when I first quit, that first week, 2 weeks, I had the biggest brain fog ever. Just couldn't, tasks were taking me twice as long, 3 times as long to do. My focus had completely gone. And again, it's that weird moment where you're like, I'm actually relying on something here to get me through the day and to help me focus. And when you take that away, you have a massive hit. But the nicotine gum would definitely help me just stay a little bit more alert. But I totally understand why for sports people, if you've got a game, a match, it can be a really big benefit. Before these snus patches we've been around, I went to America in 2012, I think. I did like one basically at the football equivalent of Camp America. So I went and taught football for 3.5 months in New England. I travelled around there, and a couple of times, some of the dads in the host families that we were staying with, they would basically have this little tin like this of nicotine or like tobacco, but it was like stringy tobacco, the kind of tobacco you put in your cigarette. You know, when you do rollers, you know, you get a little pouch. I think those pouches of nicotine you can get when you roll one up, and they would kind of like roll it into a ball, and they put that under the lip there, and you'd see this little bulge, almost like a little chipmunk out of one side, this bulge. And I think that was what they were doing. They were basically creating their own snus bags, but there wasn't a bag to filter it out. They just put the raw like tobacco in their mouth. I always thought that was really weird. I was like, does that really work? And they're like, yeah, it just gets straight into your system quicker.
Yeah, it's fascinating. And again, like for the past 2 episodes of this pod, like I feel like I'm learning a lot about substances, and weirdly, it's got my brain thinking in a very interesting way. I'm like, again, just come back to it, the stress relief aspect. I'm really thinking, what do I actually do? Do I just bottle up all my stress? And like, what happens to it?
Look, I'm not saying that everyone has to have an outlet.
Yeah.
But I think some people do.
Yeah.
Not everyone does.
There's times where I'm thinking, especially, I mean...
But at the end of the day, like, you've gone this long in life, coping in your own ways. Your own ways, obviously working. You got a beautiful family, got a nice house, got a good job. You get to travel up and down the country doing stuff you want to do with your family. Your coping mechanism are pretty good, mate. Like, you ain't on the streets just yet. Do you know what I mean?
Just yet. I appreciate that.
Your coping mechanisms are pretty sound. So whatever you're doing is working for you. You're probably just overthinking it. Could you have something in there that maybe helps you out a little bit? Maybe if in the last 3 months or so, like I said, you've been pretty stressed, maybe there's something missing. Maybe you could potentially go and figure something out. But
I'll figure out.
Yeah, maybe paddle. You've mentioned paddle a few times.
Yeah, I don't know. It's that seems the opposite of stress relieving at the moment. That's very stress inducing at the minute, especially when you get hustled. So I'm going to publicly call out George Leveland now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because George is very good.
Is he?
Told me we're crap, and then he whipped my
hustled
ass.
you?
Yeah, absolutely hustled me. So
wow.
George,
has he been getting lessons? I think he's been getting lessons, hasn't he?
I don't know. Has he told you he's getting lessons?
I'm sure I saw something on his story about lessons or something like that.
Okay, I was thinking he was some sort of tennis prodigy and he just had these transferable skills. But yeah, I mean, he absolutely destroyed me. So yeah.
I need to get into some paddle. Well, I keep saying this, my knee's better. Maybe we'll go and have a game, me and you. Just a low key one.
It's good fun. It's good fun.
Everyone you've played against, you've told me has beat you, so that's given me some. It's given me some hope.
Everyone's better than what I imagined. Everyone's so good.
Sorry about that. When you get into a sport and everyone's really good, and you're like, how's everyone sick at this sport that I've never even tried?
Yeah. Everyone goes, oh, it's such a stress relief. I'm like, it's absolutely not. I could smash up this racket. It's definitely not.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Sorry when you're shitting it.
Yeah, it's crap. It is crap. But you know, even the greatest master was once a beginner, mate. Well,
let me continue with the positives around nicotine. It may improve cognitive symptoms in schizophrenia. Higher smoking rates in ADHD and bipolar suggest self-medication. I'm going to miss that one. There's some anti-inflammatory stuff as well. Acts via the cholinergic anti-inflammatory pathway, lowers rates of ulcerative colitis in smokers. Nicotine patches trialed successfully for UC. I'm not sure what UC means. Okay.
Ulcerative colitis.
Yes, that's exactly what it'll be. I've just gone fire up. But the kind of, I guess, the real risks here are the fact that it is highly addictive. Yeah. Whenever you start messing around with things that are going to work and help one area, whether it's cognitive, whether it's a stress reliever, whether it is issues around schizophrenia, Alzheimer's, UC, there's this underlying issue that it's highly addictive and you give people it too much. A bit like painkillers. Painkillers are great, they serve a purpose, but you can get hooked on those bad boys.
100%. I mean, is there any parting words from you, mate, about vapes? And again, depends if someone is vaping. They call themselves vapors. I don't know.
Vapors.
Vapors? I don't know anymore. I don't know. I suppose if they are someone who, I'm hoping this has been quite insightful for them, that maybe there is some benefits there that they didn't expect, or maybe if they are a very excessive user, because like I said, I have seen people like Thomas the Tank Engine, that
Absolutely.
stuff.
Yeah. I've got friends who right now still vape. One of my closest mates still vapes, and he's quit before, but he went back to it. And I always think there's a sense of like he's smoked since he was a teenager. He's done cigarettes his whole life, changed up to vapes. It's just people have done it for so long. They're in that cycle of never really having quit properly, done it for a few weeks and months and always gone back to it. When it's something you've done for decades, like decades, how do you quit that? How do you give that up? That's really hard. My hairdresser, her dad had smoked for 40 years, got some heart issues, to the point where, I won't name them, but he woke up one way, basically, he was in bed one night, wasn't breathing. His missus had to give him chest compressions on the floor, ended up getting him round, and he had some issues with his heart. One of the things they said was, you've got to stop smoking, like it's gonna kill you. And so he gave it up. But after 40 years of smoking, how do you stop that?
Becomes part of you, I imagine.
Yeah, it's woven into your DNA of who you are. And I think that played on my mind after having only done it for 4 years. I was like, there's a fork in the road here where I go, right, this is me forever, or I nip it in the bud now. And I look back on this period in my life and go, yeah, I made some poor choices, but it probably won't affect me health-wise long term. What message do you give to the people? There's always hope, for sure. I think if I can do it, fucking hell, I think anyone else can quit. It's the quitting that's the hardest. It is. But you'll never quit if you don't want to quit. Some people, it's too much of a really good stress reliever. It plays such an important role in their life. You have to quit at a moment in life when stress isn't that high. If you've got loads going on a personal level, work level, family level, quitting smoking is just, it's going to get you through it, unfortunately. I can't, if you expect me to say, everyone should quit, not everyone should. Some people, it's a big part of them getting through the day. But I think there's always professional help out there as well. There's people you can go and see. I know people have been to hypnotherapists. You can do hypnotherapy for quitting smoking and vaping. Varying levels of success with that, I think. I can only say the gum worked for me. That was a really big one. Having that, I was was having so much gum that my tongue swelled at one point. And I was as I was eating food, I was constantly biting my tongue because it was so swollen from all the gum that I was chewing. It is just one of those nasty, nasty addictions that you can quit, but it's just got to take an unbelievable amount of willpower.
And any sort of addiction issues, people might not expect this from the topic of vapes, but there are 12-step programs as well, which is very systematic. People can relapse in any of these 12 steps as well, or obviously jump the queue. I mean, I don't know if I publicly spoke about this before, but I helped supported one of my friends through quite a severe gambling addiction.
Okay.
And he'd never heard of a 12-step program, so bought him some books, and he got addicted to reading. Wow,
that's definitely a better addiction.
But even just going through those, and there were books about 12-step programs, but going through that, the very systematic. And it sounds like you've gone through your own.
Just imagine him coming in and going, mate, I'm addicted to Harry Potter. I can't stop reading. I'm on the Philosopher's Stone. It's awesome.
Give me more 50 Shades.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. There's some great programs set up by people who are really in the know about this. So if you really want to do it and you've struggled, go and seek out some help. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and if you are persevering, more power to you. Just always know you've got a choice. I think that's the key.
I think one thing we've not covered, which maybe we'll do on a follow-up episode, is its effect on performance. Which I think is probably going to be very limited data, because how many people vape and push themselves to quite extreme level with their fitness? Probably we're talking about a really small pool of people. I'm not willing to come out of vaping retirement for that study either. But from an anecdotal point of view, was there mild amounts of difference? Yeah. Was it so noticeable that made me think I need to stop? No. I would say no.
But it makes you think, did your performance increase because you wasn't as stressed out?
Yeah, exactly. Was the stress relieving aspects of vaping actually mean that performance was better? Who knows? It's an open-ended question.
To be continued.
To be continued, and I'm hoping that people are leaving this episode thinking, this is one, just like I said, two coaches slating vaping. It was giving a really nuanced approach to this quite complex topic and situation that a lot of people are caught up in, for sure.
Relationships are 100%. They're so complex. And I think relationships with people, relationships with substances, very complex. So anyone who speaks black and white to it,
Yeah,
be aware.
and ignore the dickheads who are just telling you it's the wrong thing to do. It's not. Maybe for some people it is the right thing to do in that moment. Guys, if you are enjoying these episodes, as always, we would love a subscribe. We'd love a review. We've got our Instagram now at Fit Dads Podcast. At the Fit Dads? No, at Fit Dads Podcast.
That's the one.
I do that every time, don't I?
Yeah.
And you'll check us out over there. If you've got any suggestions for other topics that you want us to cover, obviously we've done vape today. There's some other things that people use as stress relievers or anything that you are just interested in from a professional point of view. We're more than happy to cover us. So drop us a message, a DM on Instagram. We will see you on the next one.
See you soon.
Bye, man. Awesome.
Cheers.
Good one.
Boss.